Oh, you're nicer than I remember you. Good to see you. How are you? Your applause makes me warm all over. I'll pass myself around later. Even that is more than I expected. It's the start of the new television season. Yes. Now, to me, that's as exciting. It comes out somewhere in between Groundhog Day and the Johnny Man Singers for sheer excitement. My air conditioner this weekend worked for the first hot weekend, but Con Edison broke down. They're going to try to raise the Titanic. Did you see this? I think that's exciting. No, seriously, again, a British crew is going to try to raise the Titanic, and that really excites me. But then when you think about it, seriously for a second, what could be on there that hasn't suffered, from 50 years at the bottom of the ocean, except maybe some old Rudy Valley records or something. They have the emergency snow equipment out. Not emergency, but they have this new device in New York now. It can move 70 tons of snow, scoop it up in a period of about 2 hours, and dump it on your car. And they've been doing a lot of that. Hey, here's an interesting tip. It's a sort of a suggestion, something you might do. Have you ever tried walking around your house or your apartment with your eyes completely shut to see how well you know it? And it's not easy. You'll bump into a lot of things at first, but after you try it a few times, you find that you can get around very easily without being able to see it all. This comes to you as a public service from Con Edison. Say, I apologize for some of the graffiti that's around, but it's all over town. It's because of these pens and things. You see stuff written on walls everywhere. But I must point out one out front. We had put on our list of guests William F. Buckley and the Supremes, and somebody wrote Together Again. But, they always talk about the new season and how it's going to be different and all sorts of exciting things will happen. And they say that daring subjects are going to be treated frankly this year on the home screen, even comically. This is all because of All in the Family. We all know that. But they say that. But they've already canceled, without putting it on the air, a series that was a sort of light-hearted spoof of illegitimacy. Yeah, it was. They figure we're not ready for a show called The Brady Bastards. They really have nerve. What other company would tell you, please don't use your air conditioning because of the heat, as they did this weekend? That's something, isn't it? It's bad, isn't it? The weather, unbelievable. People around the country will be glad to know we're suffering here in New York. It makes everybody lazy, this heat. Really, in Central Park, I saw a mugger say, give me your money or I'll beat you up tomorrow. What else is new? Oh, the New York police, did you see this? They dumped 5,639 confiscated guns into the waters off New Jersey, where many of them were probably reunited with their former owners. But, say, the people up there, I always feel a little sorry for because they feel somewhat left out from the distance, the balcony. Tonight, we finally thought of some entertainment, especially for you. During the first half hour, we're going to pass out balloons filled with water, and you can get the people down here. The people down here, what a terrible suggestion. I should begin by apologizing. I usually try to do something in the monologue about something that was in the news, but there was just nothing in the news over the weekend. Oh, there was. Yes, that's right. Gee, that was really sad. I guess there was a moment this weekend when you could just sort of feel the whole country breathe a sigh of relief. Joe Namath will play. Really something. I stayed up, so if you're tuning your set, match the red to the whites of my eyes, and it'll be about right. A lot of people went to Central Park in New York and watched, and I didn't do that, but some friends of mine did, and they said it was quite thrilling. They had these giant screens up, and you probably know about that around the country, and these people can now tell their grandchildren exactly where they were standing when a man stepped on the moon and they were having their pockets picked at the same time. We're all looking forward to the resolution made by the transit strike. If you're from around the country, we celebrate in New York every year by having a transit strike, New Year's Eve. And it's quite a thing. I could describe it to you. There are no subways run, no buses. Nobody cleans the subway cars. It's a little like when there isn't a transit strike. I have a friend who hates the new television season, so he buys 3 sets and leaves them all off so he can miss everything and save time. Strange friend, not a terribly funny friend, but a friend nonetheless. Oh, Con Edison, it's really sad. You have to feel sorry for them. They were at the aquarium today trying to sign the electric eel to a 3-year contract. I don't go to New Year's Eve parties. Whenever I do, there's always that one amateur drinking bore who corners you at the party and just bores you to death, and it's always me. Oh, and there's a thing in the papers, and then we'll move on. Have you noticed the newspaper's obsession with sex these days? This is in the New York Times. And this is a headline that I know will bring comfort to a lot of people who've been worrying about this. Millipedes are said to have a sex life. In the New York Times. I bring this close up, but you'll have to believe me. I just want to read the last 2 paragraphs, because I know a lot of you have worried and wondered whether millipedes did, in fact, have one or not. And these last 2 paragraphs are the meat of this thing. The South African male millipede woos potential partners by rubbing one of his 21 pairs of legs against his shell. Is this getting people too excited at home? I have a nightmare in which I am trapped in a New York subway. I guess if you've ever been in one, it's just awful to be trapped in one. My nightmare is that it's a very hot day, and I'm trapped in a subway tunnel with the studio audience from Let's Make a Deal. This is New Year's Eve. This is the night that we pay tribute to Guy Lombardo all over America. You know, it's exciting. Once I was actually there and saw Guy Lombardo like 4 feet away blow the little New Year's horn and throw the confetti and say Happy New Year. And that was really exciting. Unfortunately, it was on July on a beach in Long Island. Guy was a little gassed, but... When I first came to New York, that reminds me, there's a hotel called the Essex House, E-S-S-E-X. And right on the skyline, right, the first 2 letters burned out. Right there on the skyline. I figured this is New York. According to Dr. Hocker, that's Dr. Ulrich Hocker, lecturer at Hamburg University, this produces a noise like a saw going through wood. If the female feels in the mood, she shows it by licking the male's kneecaps. I read this to my staff, and only one of them said, doesn't everybody, which I think is... You guys have tuxedos on.
We thought we'd class up the joint.
Are you playing a funeral later?
No, we're not.
I had the odd experience of introducing William F. Buckley to Louis Armstrong. And really, and his first words were, I would assume that perhaps you and I are at ideological antipodes. And Buckley didn't know what to say in response. No, and I think their meeting influenced each other, because I noticed Mr. Armstrong walking away later, tapping his teeth with a pencil and thinking very thoughtfully, you know. And so I said to Mr. Buckley, I see the dominant personality prevailed. And he said, yeah, Daddy, yeah. Mr. Nixon has made his New Year's resolution. He hopes during the coming year to make one thing perfectly clear.